it's recording. Perfect. Okay, now we're good. So ma'am, look, thank you for joining us. What I'll do is obviously because this concerns you as a head of department. So I'm going to Prajat, do you want to just show? So ma'am, there are two parts of our product. One is the actual product. The other part is the plug and play. So this is where basically it will fit in your existing ERP, and this will become sort of it's a soft skills end-to-end product. So it's a kind of a university or entire program for employability skills. So we're going to show you first the ERP side of it, which Prajat, you there?
Yes, sir. Yes. Sir.
Okay, sure. Do you want to take over?
Yes.
I'll stop my share. Okay, and then you can show ma'am the ERP side. Okay, perfect.
Are you able to see the screen?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, this is the admin login, the college admin login.
For Centurion.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
For Centurion. And here you can see the overview of students, faculty, reviewers. Also, the soft skills we are providing.
So ma'am, this is basically two aspects of this. So the top one that you can see silver, gold, and platinum is the actual courseware or the theory, which obviously has got overall that's about 30 odd topics. This bottom part is the dojos or the practice tools. The dojo is obviously, as you know, it's the Japanese term or the Asian term for martial arts. So this is where students are going to practice different aspects of soft skills. So what we have done is we've actually deconstructed the entire subject matter into micro topics or micro learning and micro nuggets, because we understand that it's very hard because it's a broad. So we have not only broken it down, then we have further deconstructed into different aspects of soft skills. So which we obviously will show you how we teach we get our students to learn. Yeah. Keep going. Sorry, Prajat. Yeah.
Yes, sir. So we can add the university's medium standard divisions.
Okay.
As per, we can also add the students who are studying for a particular course, like first year B pharmacy. Also, we have given a option to upload multiple bulk data for students to CSV file. Then you can also add the teachers. You can see the list of teachers I have added for demo purpose. Yeah.
Okay. So this is the admin. So this is for the
yes, admin.
Admin. Okay. What about the tutors or the mentors, teachers?
Yeah, I'll show you.
So there are three logins. One is obviously the one we showed you was for the head of the department or the dean or the principal in this case. And the second one we are showing is for the teachers who are going to be actually running the course. So this can be your teachers on your team, for example. So they will also have visibility of how many students are enrolled in this course. They can, from here, they can view number of students and how they are tracking as far as the soft skills is concerned. We've added a little bit of ERP elements to it, which if you don't need, if you have your existing ERP for attendance, etc. But for soft skilling, we also mark their attendance to make sure that they are whether it's a format that you prefer. So if you want to run this in a classroom format where a teacher is going to be responsible for running the entire course, then we can do that. If you are going to prefer, because this entire portal is designed in a self-learning manner, which means it doesn't need a tutor, but if required, we can do either or.
Okay. Just one question. How, if there are suppose below average students, then how they are going to manage this thing,
Sure.
the
So
self-learning part?
of course. So right now we are not showing you the product. We are just showing you the ERP. I think, Prajot, maybe we can, get out of this. What I'll do is I'll take over.
Okay.
I'll show
Okay.
the actual product so that, that then we can take her questions. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. So, right, ma'am. So this is where the actual product, when a student will log in, this is when they will land. So first and foremost, they will have to, what we require them to do is obviously prepare their own, create their own profile. A lot of importance given to the profile, because a lot of feedback that is going to happen during the course, because the course is designed in using elements of NLP, which is, self-learning as well, and also elements of a methodology of where we get them to have or receive feedback as they progress. So that's why this profile is very important. There are two parts of our course. So one is the courseware or the theory. Theory is going to be basically in silver, gold, and platinum. The entire course is designed in such a way that there is a virtual tutor. So basically, they don't need assistance from anyone. There is voiceovers. There is also the transcript. To answer your question, and this course we prepared is for 95%. So when I say 95%, 5% of the class is, or 10% is the top 5-10% are generally going to be self-starters or self-motivators. They are going to be the ones who will always be actively participating in classroom, or they in your social environment, or even in your extracurricular activities, whether it's event management or whatever not. The 95% is where this product is aimed at. The entire product is prepared using work, which means, they have to use practice and learn. So what I'm showing you right now is just a theory. So this theory is where they obviously need to, once again, they have to interact with the screen. They cannot, because I've completed this course, it will allow me to browse through, but they will not be able to click through without completing that first part. So for example, if I'm going into introduction, so it starts off doing a pre-assessment quiz. So the first activity is always to gauge their current understanding of a topic. So in this case, for example, communication, we just want to understand what is their, their current level of understanding. Because I've completed it, it'll allow me to go through. So I'm just going to browse through, because to respect the time here. Let's start. First, Silver is teaching them a little bit about the basics of soft skills. And then once we teach them basics of soft skills, we also want to make sure that they are understanding the real life implications of soft skills. So we start off with a scenario. For example, this is a scenario of Rajiv, who has recently joined as an executive, but because of his poor time management skills, his performance is suffering. And then once they complete the scenario, once they go through the scenario, this is where once again we test their knowledge. So the entire format is designed in such a way. First, there is a quiz. Then there is an exercise, whether that exercise is scenario, whether that exercise is listening to a podcast, or whether that exercise is reading material. And then it's always backed by a quiz. That's incorrect. Once again, the quiz is everything that they do at the front is getting recorded at the back in our reporting area, where the number of attempts they are making, or how much scores how much scoring they are getting, it's all getting recorded. Incorrect. Now, if they are making two incorrect, attempts, then it might allow them to, for example, move forward. But it will not allow them to move unless they make an attempt. That's incorrect. So in this case, for example, Raj to be in office, one in his late coming, is overall, let's say, reliability. Okay, then probably it might.
That's correct.
Okay, so it's allow me to then continue. And then that's how basically it'll keep going.
Communication
And then
indicator.
it goes into the second scenario. The second
Veronica
scenario is
an
about someone
entrepreneur.
else, and then
Let's
so and
hear a
so forth.
conversation
So
between
this
you
is
two.
where the silver is going to deal with basics of soft skills, different types of communications, what is verbal communication, what is eye contact, what is going to be the importance of smile when you're communicating. And then obviously it goes into a little more into dressing and making first impressions, because this is more targeted towards your graduates or job seekers. That's why it talks more about making that first impression where you're going for an interview, for example, or making first good impression when you're going for your first day at work. And then it goes into your accent and pronunciation. It doesn't go so much into grammar, because we understand that's something very hard to teach in this environment. And there's lots of other ways they can learn. Obviously, in these cases, obviously through your classes there. But this is more so around how soft skills plays an important role, or how verbal communications play an important role within soft skills. And then this goes into a lot of activities, and then at the end of it they have to do a post-assessment question or quiz. The entire courseware, this one, the silver, is for hour and a half roughly, but for them, for a learner to do this, it will take them at least month plus, because this is where they have to do a lot of reading, a lot of interaction, and a lot of we don't want them to sort of practice more than 30 to 40 minutes a day, or we don't want them to learn this more than 30 to 40 minutes a day. So this is silver. Similarly, we've got gold. Gold naturally is where there is different topics. Now within gold, obviously we take it one notch up. We now get into a little bit more of
Let's delve into an interesting activity now. Select
skills
each
which
image to
are
register
in
the
play,
first
for example,
impression
in
of the
body language.
shown in the following
And then once again, when we are teaching them,
images.
there is a lot of, I guess, clicking through that they have to do. So it does not allow them to simply
Hi,
just
I'm
browse
Neil.
through.
Hey.
In this case, once again, there is a virtual tutor. So if you don't have an actual tutor available, this virtual tutor can take them through the entire courseware. They don't need someone to be present. But we would encourage either or. So if your format or university requirement, for example, one of our university partners, where we are running this in Charoset, they want this to be run in a self-learning format. So we've given them self-learning format, but they want a lot of the feedback to be given by the TPOs and by the communications department. So everything that they practice is recorded in audio or video, which I'll show you in the second part. That's why they really like it, because obviously it gives them the chance to understand where their current skill set is for their students, and it gives them chance to also give them feedback on each of that practice. This, once again, gold is where they learn more about body language, more about small talk, verbal communication, how verbal communication plays an important role in meeting etiquettes. And there is, as you can see, there is lots of topics which they can do it in a self-paced environment, so, or this can be taught in a classroom format. And then after this, the third part is the platinum, which once again is about active listening. And then this is more around email writing, so written communication skills. This is more around how now it's getting more around behavioral skills. So it's going to be about what is open-ended question, what is closed-ended questions, getting them to understand how to have conversations in a formal or informal environment, how to build rapport. And then obviously we teach them about business etiquettes and how to write business communication. So all in all these three, as I said, they cover different aspects of soft skills in a formal and an informal environment. So the idea is to develop a whole body or a full body of soft skills, and not just focus only on communication skills. So this is the theory aspect. The practice tools is where there is about 9 different tools. Now the practice part is the most interesting part, because this is where 80% of the weightage is given to practice. So the final scoring that they will get 80% is through practice, and 20% is going to be through the theory that I just showed you. Now I'm going to show you one tool at a time. Obviously, I won't go through all of them, but let's say, let's take first the body language tool. So body language tool is where they are going to focus on different aspects of body language. So what we do is we have built simulations. I'm going to go into, so these are the different body language postures, gestures, hand movements and shoulder movements and smiles, etc., that we teach them. The idea is to get them to practice small little scenarios. So in this case, for example, Dushan smile, which obviously, as we know, is the most authentic smile. So you are, for example, Rucha, your colleague is, is a very good friend of yours. She's coming to meet you. Record yourself
bringing forward your hand
saying the following.
wishing.
So for example, hey, congratulations, I'm so happy to see you here. Because we are on Zoom, it will not allow me to record, but generally based on this, they have to record their smile saying the following sentence and then upload this video. So now this video goes and sits in the portal under my recording, which means that video is going to become the central piece of coaching, which I'll show you next. But this is the body language dojo. So basically, just like this, there are hundreds of different parts in body language that we are teaching them. As you can see, focuses on hands, on shoulders, on smiles. Because it is such a broad topic, we want to then get their attention. So there are two ways we teach them. One is by practice, and second is by learning through observation. So there are certain videos of world speakers, business leaders and world leaders, which we show them the video, and then there is questions around them where we get them to focus on their hand movements, gestures, postures, smile, eye contact, and different aspects is covered in it. So overall, it builds their a full understanding of what body language is all about. At the same time, it shows them what to use or what sort of and read body language in others as well. So that's body language. One of my favorite is our video interview tool. Naturally, there are interview tools are broken down into two aspects. One is audio interviews. One is video interviews. Obviously, right now, majority of interviews are happening in a virtual environment. So I'll go into the video interview too. Once again, there is instructions they have to read. The idea is to basically read the scenario. They are going to listen to the instructions and they can read the instructions. So it gives clear instruction of how it is going to work. So they have to select a practice scenario. They have to read and prepare for the answers. And then they have to record themselves answering that question. Once again, hundreds of scenarios. So for example, if predominantly you have engineering students, then they can only practice engineering. Obviously, we would encourage them to practice anything and everything in there, because everything builds their subset of their soft skills. So just by focusing on engineering or IT, they might just get boxed into that one environment. We don't want that to happen. So let's say, an argument's sake, we will take banking. So in banking, there are different situations. So the first scenario is, you are a bachelor's in commerce from Naswadia, College of Management. You are going for an interview with Rylock Incorporation. You are going as an interview for account executive. And this is what, now the first question is, we can see that you passed. So there is an audio that comes up and it say, this is more than a behavioral question. So it will say that, okay, we can see that you passed on accounting. And then the question pops out, how do you stay on top of all your recent tax changes? So the person, either they can prepare their answer. If they don't have answer prepared, they can look at the sample answers here and they can just record themselves saying this, answer. Now, in this recording, before they go into this environment, we have already taught them how to focus on lighting, how to focus on their dressing, how to focus on eye contact, and how to control their hand gestures. So we are coaching them on each aspect before they go into the practice environment. Once they start recording, it records. Once again, it will not show it. This will not work here. Sorry for that, because we are on Zoom. And then once they stop the recording, there is another button comes up here. It says stop recording. And if they're happy with the video, it allows them to upload. The moment they upload the video, the next question pops up. I'll actually show you a, instead of that, I'll show you the interview dojo. Okay, this is the audio version, which I'll show you here. Once again, there are.
This skill will
Okay, so there's, let's say, BPO call center situation. So you're going for a customer service.
Who will you play? You are an
Once again, the role play comes up. Good afternoon. How are you today? Now this is, I am great. Thank you for asking. It sits here. I can listen to this recording. Thank you for. And this is becomes the piece where they will receive feedback on. If I'm happy with this recording, I can just save and continue. And the next question comes up. So thanks for telling us a little bit about yourself.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. So these are some very common questions that get asked. Yeah, my name is Sharad. I'm, bachelor's of such and such, and I hail from a small town or whatever the case is. Record the answer, save and continue. The next question comes up. Once again, record and continue. The next question comes up. So it actually takes them through the whole series of questions that generally get asked during an actual interview setting.
So, what is
and
your
at the end,
understanding
obviously,
about this call center role?
It says congratulations, and then I can check my scoring. So in this case, obviously, it's just going to show 1 star because right now this has not been rated. But for example, if I'm your student, Sukanya ma'am, it will go to Sukanya ma'am. You can listen to that audio recording, and then you can give me a rating. So you can listen to each of my answers, and then you can rate me for my speed that I use, my diction and grammar, my confidence, my clear voice, whether I was mumbling, whether my answers were relevant to the question that was asked. That is the whole, I guess, the philosophy or the thesis of the tool that we have created. So we want them to practice. We want them to then submit, be happy with what they've practiced. We want them to submit the recording, audio or video. We want them to receive the feedback and then repeat the same cycle once again. If there is no feedback, that's fine. They can still go ahead and practice the scenario. The feedback is entirely optional, whether the university or the college wants to engage in that. Majority of our college partners, they do, because no adult learning is complete without feedback. We've all had that, for me, my personal journey, a lot of the feedback I used to get was, Sharad, you need to improve your communication skills. But I didn't know what part I need to improve till I got told that, okay, it's you talk too fast, or you talk in a very soft tone, or you talk very, very high pitch, and then I can make correction and then I can practice. So this is the same the formula here. And these are our different tools. I'm also going to quickly show you our active listening tool, which is very popular. So when we did our
this one skill
beta testing about 1 year back with KKR University in Bangalore, one of the tools that they really sort of were very taken to was active listening. And they said that because a lot of times what happens is, the students, they listen, but they don't, they hear, but they don't listen. So when we got told that, we ran this past them, and active listening, I'll just show you this one. So active listening, ma'am, what we have done is we're using a lot of,
it's my first day over here. Great.
for example, in this case, we are using lots of podcasts. We are using audio clippings. We are using speeches of world leaders. What happens in this case, for example, this is an audio clipping between 2 friends who have met first time as work. So Nandita is, someone who's moved to Delhi and she started working. And in this audio clipping, they have to listen to it. Now, the idea here is the question when gets asked, the question doesn't, as you can see, doesn't pop up on the screen. They have to listen to the question.
Did she sound excited about that?
Question is, did she sound excited about her first day at work? Now, if I haven't listened to the actual audio recording or the conversation that happens between the 2 people here, I'll not be able to answer that. Yes, for example, my answer is, yes, she sounded very excited about the first day at work. And then obviously, as you can see, it comes up as a whole voice file get converted into a graph. Now that means, the person who's giving me feedback can also, or I can see it for myself that, okay, I have a lot of pauses between when I talk, or I'm speaking in a very high pitch around here, or I'm not speaking in a very fluid manner. So these are some of the things that this tool does for them. But the idea is for them to get to listen to this audio and clippings or podcasts, and then answer those questions which are central to that entire conversation or that podcast. Which if they haven't listened, so this gets them to build or practice their active listening. At the same, something that probably might you might be more I guess interested in is our pronunciation tool. Now this is very simple. Our pronunciation tool is where we get them to pick any word, and then say palace. So we get them to pick a word that, okay, we might not pick here because I'm right now on audio.
Pronunciation is the first thing.
Okay, and the idea here is to
ensure.
Okay, the idea here is to practice any word. So let's say palace. Okay, sorry, it's not going to pick up, ma'am, because I'm on a audio call, but they have to practice. We've got about 1,000 words. Obviously, this the entire dictionary is loaded, but let's say the 1,000 words that we have here, which are most commonly used in day-to-day conversations. So they have to practice the pronunciation. The second part of so this is where they record their the word, and once they record, it says, for example, your voice is low, but once I play this, it will actually convert speech to text once again, and it will match it against the actual pronunciation. So it will spit out a percentage here. So it will say 100% match or 90% match. So the idea is for them to practice as many words as possible. The second part of this pronunciation tool is sentence structuring. So once again, the word that they've practiced, they can now going to practice in a simple sentence, complex sentence, and compound sentence, obviously. So let's say we are getting them to practice a preposition, so they can read the instructions, what are prepositions, so they can download and they can read about different parts of it. This is just an instructional video, and then let's choose a word. The word here, let's say, is bitter. So the first one, the question, so the sentence is entirely jumbled up. So it got bitter taste. So I have to then rearrange it into the correct sentence structure. It has got a bitter taste. Okay, then it'll check. Okay, sorry, it's saying that it's incorrect. So it has got okay. Okay, so then it corrects me. It'll show me that, okay, this is where the mistake that I'm making. Similarly, for example, the tea is too bitter. Okay, so it's saying it's correct, and then it allows me to. So whenever I'm, typing it correctly, it then takes me to the next part, which is where I am going to practice the same word in the complex sentences. Naturally, it's going to be a little bit more advanced, and then it takes me into the compound sentence as well. So it shows me how to use that word bitter in a simple, complex and compound manner. Every time I'm going to repeat that sentence, I have to record that sentence. So once I type it up, I have to record it. And when I record the sentence, it is going to convert it into speech to text, and then it's going to spit out an accuracy back at me. Unfortunately, because in a virtual environment, on a Zoom call, it will not work fully. But once we give you a login, you can practice it yourself and you will see. So the idea is here is to get them to practice a lot of words and then practice that into sentence structuring as well. The second part of our tool is also our language tool. Language tool is very simple, where we get them to practice the general reading. Once again, this is based on the curricula from IELTS and TOEFL and Cambridge. Let's take one scenario. So this is where they read the scenario, and then they have to obviously answer these questions. Once they answer it, submit, and then it keeps moving into the next section. So this is more around reading. Reading is, once again, as I said, is general reading as well as academic reading. And the third and last is also going to be our telephonic conversation. So this telephonic conversation dojo or practice tool is, again, it gets them to practice inbound and outbound calls. So whether they are in a call center environment, whether they're making calls or they're receiving calls, it gets them to practice both the situations. All the tools that you can see, ma'am, they have audio or video recording. That recording comes and sits here. So in this case, for example, I'm using one of the students' logins. So he has, let's say, practiced telephonic conversation, or he's practiced this dojo. So he has, I can submit for a review. So once I submit it for a review, it says submitted successfully. This then will go to the tutor. So in this case, for example, Suganya ma'am is my tutor or my teacher or mentor, then it will go to you, and you'll be able to then listen to this recording. And then based on that 5-star rating, you'll then give me a rating. And then once I receive it, it'll come back to me and it will show me what rating I've received. So for example, waiting to be reviewed by counselor. So this one has already been reviewed. So if I go in here, in this case, obviously it's got all 5 stars, because this is just, we've used to for this presentation purposes. But let's say, argument's sake, you can give me 2 if you're not happy with the conversation, if you're not happy with the speed. Once again, this rating or this scorecard is fully customizable. So different colleges, different universities, they might require some different sort of parameters. We can change that, or we can give them access so they can build their own scorecards. So the whole loop is complete. So once they do the course, then they go into the practice tools where they practice, and then all this practice then comes and sits in the so these are our existing reviews of different colleges. You can have your own reviews, and this is the reports. So these are reports where you can see for individuals. So to answer your first question, how will you know the 95% or the weakest? So this is, for example, I'm your weakest student. This will show you that, Sharad, and if I come to you, or if I go to the TPO and I say, nah, I'm not getting successful at interviews or cracking interviews, for example, or I'm not getting too much success in my conversation skills or communication skills or building rapport, you can look at this, and Sukanya ma'am can see this and tell me that, okay, Sharad, the reason you are not able to, because what I can see here is, for example, you have only practiced 4 scenarios in the body language dojo. And you have only scored such and such. Obviously, this will not show the scoring because that's a separate scorecard, but it will show you a full view of how much practice I am putting into this. So there are 2 reports. One is obviously going to be the theory, which, as you can see, so it will show the theory. So theory, everyone is really good at. Obviously, there is no, it's only clicking through. It's a very passive way of learning, though there is a lot of activities they have to do. It's only unilateral or unidirectional, or it's one way, because obviously it's screen versus hand. Whereas the second part is, which I showed you, which are the tools. So the algorithm is written in such a way, the practice area, even though I've scored 1290, it fetches 80% from this and gives 20% scoring to the course area, which is a theory. And then it will spit out, in this case, obviously it's not showing because the course is not complete, but this will show how much percentage they have secured. So then I, being the VK student, I can come to you whenever I come to you. And this is real time. This is not one-off scoring. This continuously scores them in real time. So you can look at this, or you can get them to print this out before they come to you. And when they come to you, you can look at this, or your teacher or your staff can look at this and say, Sharad, what I can see is, look, you've gone ahead and practiced, you've completed theory 100%. I can see you've done all the modules in silver, for example, but I can see that you've not barely practice your personality development. You've barely gone and done your interview skills practice. So what I would suggest is go back and practice. Similarly, once they finish the entire thing, ma'am, they get a certificate from SKITRE, which will tell them what they've scored and whether they are intermediate, whether expert. So it will give them a scoring of how much they've scored and what is their soft skills level. So when that scoring is given, it is not a simple certification where they have just gone and done some reading, they've just done some course, or they've submitted something, assignment in writing, and they've got scoring based on that. Because soft skills or employable skills is frankly what you are able to transfer, as we all know, or what you are able to apply in real situation, which without practice is not going to happen. As they say, no matter how many videos or how many just encouragement pieces I read about cricketer or just pick up the bat and let me start practice, is not going to work for me. So this is the entire course, man. Now I can
Okay, thank you. It looks very interesting. I just want to know how many lessons are all total which they can practice.
These tools, ma'am, we want them to practice each tool. So there are, because it works on different aspects of their soft skills. So all of there are 9 tools. And the course, the topics in the course, there are about 30 topics.
Okay, so in each one they are having almost 30 to practice.
The 30
okay.
To read and 9. So, okay, to answer, sorry, I now understand the question. So in all, there are about 100 scenarios in each tool. So some tools have got 50 scenarios, some tools have got 30 scenarios. If I look at Interview Dojo, because that's one of our most, we have had proven track record of increasing their chances by 80 to 90% of cracking an interview by putting them in a simulated environment. So this has got about 100 scenarios. Telephonic Conversations get about 30, 40. But remember, ma'am, that the entire portal is continuously, there are new topics that are being pushed every day. Like, for example, last week, we have a nursing college that we have signed up. Now they require their dojos only for nursing. We've told them that don't do that. I mean, that's our suggestion. Get them to practice everything. But they said, no, we want specific. So we have created 6 different scenarios for nursing. For video interview, we have created, I'll show you very quickly. We've created scenarios for telephonic conversation, which are pertaining to nurses. But that's here it is, for nursing and healthcare. So they wanted specifically for nursing. So we said, okay, we will, create this scenarios for you. They gave us, certain, so they're giving us more material. So this will all be filled, but we just created something from our side. If that answers your question.
Yeah, I got it. And suppose they want to practice a particular one thing, they have already done it, but they're not satisfied and they want to practice it once again. So is that possible?
Absolutely. That's why I said that they can practice. So we do not control how many times they practice. We do not control. We encourage them to practice it as much as they want. Like we had this 24/7, man. And there is no capping on this. We don't say, we recommend that do not practice. I mean, we would say 20, 25 minutes, because obviously the idea here is to practice, sink in, let it obviously become part of your memory muscle, and then take it again the next day and the next day and next day. But if someone says, okay, I want to practice for 2 hours, go for it. And if they're not happy, they can practice any scenario again and again, as many times as they want.
Okay, and the schools that they're getting into that, if they practice it once again. So are the scores going to be updated?
Yes, correct. Yeah, we have done it in such a way that
Okay.
look, each scenario has got three categories. One is carries 5 marks. Second carries a little bit harder, carries 10 marks. And the toughest ones where they have to, for example, in an interview setting, if they have to use STAR method to answer questions, behavioral questions, then they give them 15 marks. But if they're practicing again, we don't deduct marks, but it will show that, okay, they didn't clear it at the first attempt. It will show it that it cleared at the second attempt. So we are writing that algorithm where on the second attempt, we might deduct a mark, but we don't want to. The idea here is to not to demotivate them. The idea here is to motivate them so that this becomes like, as we say, closest analogy is if your favorite TV series is, let's say, Game of Thrones, no one needs to tell you, okay, go and start watching it. You will automatically be motivated. So we want them to come and get motivated and practice this and get the feedback. So the exciting piece is going to be that feedback which they receive.
Okay. And regarding the theory part, how it is going to be evaluated?
Theory, ma'am, the same way. So each topic in theory, because it is topic based, so each topic they clear, they will get marks on the topic. So every time they finish that, for example, the quizzes. So for example, I'm doing this scenario, I'm completing this scenario about Radhika. So once I've completed this, it will take me to a quiz, and the quiz is going to be, so it's
Sir, LMS, we are not able to see the LMS.
Oh, sorry.
Here's what you have gained at the end of it.
That's why this Zoom, 1 second. Okay, tell me if you can see. Yep. Rajat, yep. Rajat, can you see the screen?
Yes, sir, we can see it.
So ma'am, just to answer your question. So for example, because I completed the previous, is giving me 600 points. Now these points at the back end, they are getting calculated in the reporting that I showed you. So every topic, every level I clear is fetching me points. So if once I clear this, it's catching me some points. Even though this quiz is, for example, not rated, it says this is not a graded assignment or assessment. There are other quizzes which are graded assessments. So that is where you are getting obviously, marks for that attempting those quizzes. Every screen that I click, everything is getting recorded, which means unfortunately, like fortunately or unfortunately, if they don't attempt this, it is not going to allow them to progress any further. So which means they will not get the points if they're not completed it.
Okay. That was my concern actually. Like the evaluation will be from your side, like automated from the app, or we have to.
No, it's
that was my concern. Yeah.
Yes. This is just for future sake. We are right now, what we are doing is, once we have enough data, that is also going to be a we right now we are in talks with a Singapore bank initiative. So we are building a lot of artificial intelligence in this. Now, as we know, human learning cannot be completely dependent on machine. So obviously it's going to be very biased. There will always be human intervention that is needed and encouraged. So our product is in complement or complementary to whatever you are teaching. This is not replacing anything. It will definitely need a lot of, but it will make all your lives much more easier. And this is very laser focused around employable skills, very laser focused around skills that are at play when you are in a work environment or when you're going for jobs. So this, as I said, when we, for our 20,000 plus users that we have at the moment, we have some fantastic, reviews and ratings coming back. That's why our website we are rebuilding, because we want to capture all of that and we want to put that. So it's not so much so only about that. It's end of the day, like you said, if how effective it is for the weakest part of the, what do you call spectrum, person in the spectrum, is how effective the whole portal is. So we understand that a lot of students, they are morning learners, a lot of students are afternoon learners, or some students like me are, they become active at night, and they sort of, their brains switch on at night. So unfortunately, during daytime, I never used to understand a lot of what was being taught. But in this case, because it's 24/7, they can practice, they can, whatever they missed out in the class. For example, if you decide that theory you will teach in class, each screen by screen by screen, you can do that. And they can go home and they can still revisit it, because you are showing them on a screen, on a projector, but they have their individual logins. So each of your student will have individual logins. They will have individual practice time. They will have their own scoring. It does not need so much of monitoring, except for once in a while, you can log in, or your admin can log in and look at how each student is progressing, if that is something that, but we would encourage that happens, so that, because at times, that the students, they do need that for that 90 or 80% of that classroom, which still will not go and practice, if it comes to that.
Okay, thank you. You assure me that this is basically targeting the students who are not that good, like who needs to improve, or it is targeting those who are average or above average.
Correct.
So what basically you want to focus on?
That's right. So it's for the 90%. Look, the top 5-10%, ma'am, as I said, they will, yes, they will still gain, and it's for everyone, but they will, they regardless, they will be people who will, be naturally either good at, communicating, or good at, building rapport, or good at sort of, have that skill set to be able to exceed well in, in interviews, or even beyond, in careers, or in business, whatever they choose to do. But this is more about that. And this is like one of those things, ma'am, that once you set them, or once this becomes part of their thought process, this becomes part of their skill set, they will, throughout their life, they will keep learning. The soft skills is, it's something that you will continuously learn. But now you become, because you've been taught all this, suddenly your sense of observation, or your power of observing people and learning becomes 10 times or 20 times higher, because you understand that what does that smile mean, or you understand that how to make a good impression, or you understand what can be said or cannot be said in an environment, or so and so forth.
Okay. So thank you so much. I just want this recording so that I can share it with my colleagues, and we can then, we can take a decision.
No problem.
And definitely we will contact you after the discuss.
Yeah.
Okay.
Prashant is there. So
thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks for your time. And
yeah, sure. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
So